Welcome back to another episode on the Expand Your Awareness 2.0 podcast. My name is Aaron. I hope you guys are excited about today's podcast. Today's podcast is all about things I gave up. 7 things. I wrote on my list 5 to 7 things, but I've figured out it is 7 things. Why? Because 7 is a much more spiritual number than 5. Everyone knows that. 7 things I gave up to raise my vibration almost instantly. Some of it would raise it instantly, but some almost instantly. So I had to do it justice here, okay? Today's podcast, as you can tell, is probably going to have a lot of fun energy, a little bit of a more light, loose, fun, twisty-turvy energy today. And that's because I'm just excited to be here with you, okay? Something I did today is a little bit different than normal days. Last night, so 2 nights ago, I had some friends came over. We were chilling till kind of late, like 1 a.m. And I normally go to bed a little bit earlier than that. Even that was a little bit late for me, okay? And then I realized, oh my gosh, I just saw the thing on the podcast thing. I said 111. Anyways, so I went to bed really late, and I was like, okay, I need to go to bed earlier. And I remembered, I made an Instagram story about it yesterday. So back in the day, when I worked at Nordstrom's, I met this like really wealthy guy that I used to watch on YouTube and stuff. And I was talking for like an hour while his girlfriend was like buying shoes and stuff. And one of the things he said always kind of stuck with me. He said the most successful billionaire, he said he has billionaire friends, and all the billionaire friends he knows gets up before 7 a.m. So that is interesting. I mean, I'm just saying, like, if we're going to shift to the reality we want, we might as well start embodying that energy now, right? I want to be a billionaire. But that reminded me. So I've been getting up later because it's like quarantine and stuff, right? So I've been getting up at like 8 o'clock, 8:30. The day that I went to bed at 1, I got up at like 9 the next day. I was like, oh my God, I feel like a bum. But then I realized, I said, okay, I'm going to start going to bed earlier. So last night I went to bed at like 10, which is like really early for me. But I got up at like 6 today. And I got more work done in the first 2 or 3 hours of my day than I normally get done in like 6 hours. And now I wasn't even supposed to do this podcast today. I was going to do it tomorrow, but that's how that's how on point you become when you do things like this. So let me just throw that out there right now. I don't want to, if you guys want to be a billionaire, I talked to a guy that knew other billionaires, okay? And what he said is they all get up before 7. Okay, so that's what he said. He said they all had things they gave up to raise their vibration. He also said that. Okay, he didn't say that, but I'm going to say that. That's what I would imagine if you want to become a billionaire. $1 billion. Ha, ha, ha. You have to let go of these 7 things that I'm going to share with you today. So first off, if you don't know, now you know. There is this scale of consciousness that I normally share. The scale of consciousness is on the book Power versus Force. At the bottom, it has shame, guilt. Then eventually you'll see fear, then anger. Then eventually you'll see neutrality. Then eventually you'll see acceptance, willingness, acceptance. And then reasoning at 400, it goes from 0 to 1,000. At 500 is love, joy, peace, and enlightenment is above that. Now, in general, as you raise your vibration, you will begin to feel like high all the time. That's pretty much what happened when I went through my spiritual awakening in 2012. I got rid of these 7 things I'm going to be sharing with you, and some of them I got rid of more recently. But my vibrational set point went on a scale of 10, with 10 feeling amazing, 0 feeling like not great at all. My base point was probably at about a 3 out of 10. I wasn't feeling that great. And then I would have like fluctuations. It might go up to a 4 or 5 out of 10. Maybe a very blissful experience. I'd feel like a 6 or 7 out of 10. But on general, I'd be at about a 3. Go through my spiritual awakening in 2012. I let go of some of these things I'm talking about. My base point went up to about 7 or 8 out of 10. 7 or 8 out of 10. I felt high all of the time, and I wasn't doing anything to feel that high. Like I wasn't smoking nothing. I wasn't drinking nothing. I felt high. I know that sounds annoying. I used to smoke a lot of weed. I used to drink, and I would hear people that like, oh, I don't do anything. I'd be like, those people are squares. They don't do anything. They don't enjoy life. But then I started feeling so good that when I would do these things, I'd go back to these things that used to make me feel a certain way. It would bring my vibration down. And I remember I was walking around my room one day, and I thought to myself, like, it's almost like, when you feel so good before you're going to bed, and you're like, I hope I feel this good in the morning. I don't want to go to bed. I feel so good. Well, like I felt like that in life, and I was like, I hope I don't lose this like feeling that I have. And it never really went away. It just became my natural base point. Now, of course, it still fluctuates. Even though maybe I feel a 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 now, it's still, there's times, yesterday I felt a 5 or a 4 out of 10. Because something happened, something with like some business stuff. You know, like somebody, never mind. I don't even want to get into it. But it was something that I obviously was not doing anything wrong, but somebody else was the way YouTube works. It's like something to do with you. The way that there's like a filtering of content. There's a way that they don't want certain topics out there in the world, kind of stuff like that, you could say. And the way that it's just run is not too much, not too cool for trying to get certain information out there when they don't like the information. Anyways, enough about that. But anyways, my vibration did topple down a little bit. So just know that there is still a fluctuation. But in general, if you want to raise your vibrational set point, this episode is going to help you do that. So the first thing I want to talk about of when I let go of things. Now, first off, what happened back in 2012? Well, I went through a spiritual awakening. I was working at Nordstrom's in women's shoes. I was, at the time, I was taking Adderall for ADHD. That's how I was able to sell at my job. Like, other than that, I would go in, and it was kind of all over the place. I had very loud energy. I still have loud energy, but it was like even more loud back in, it was way less grounded back when I worked at Nordstrom's in women's shoes. I felt very unworthy of my past. I had a lot of patterns in my life that continued to keep recycling themselves out. I always had a woman in my life that was trying to control me. That's because, as many of you know, 7 to 15 years old, I had my ex-stepmom in my life that was very controlling, very manipulative, someone that we consider like a narcissist or a sociopath. And after my dad divorced her when I was 15, I then had a girlfriend that was very negative, very controlling. Was with her for like 5 years. And then eventually I was actually working at Nordstrom's in BP shoes. I got transferred to Salon Shoes, which is a more expensive shoe department, better department to be in is a sales commission job. And the manager, once I broke up with that ex-girlfriend, within a week got transferred to a better department where I'm making more money, but the manager of that department is almost the same person as my ex-stepmom, controlling, manipulative. Of course, she couldn't physically, abuse any of us coworkers, but she would mentally and get away with so much stuff. We tried to get her fired. We could not get her fired because she was protected by upper management. So I had these patterns in my life. I was taking Adderall to deal with ADHD because it's hard for me to focus. I was feeling unworthy. Also, I was smoking a lot of weed because when I would go home at the end of the day from working, I would then want to get my appetite back so that I could eat and then also be able to sleep. Because the side effects of Adderall are you don't eat very much, you don't sleep very much. So I'd go home at night and I would smoke a lot of weed. So here I am having those crutches in the morning, crutches at night, and not feeling worthy, having these patterns in my life, and not feeling like I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing in life. And that's when I started to research and look, there's got to be something else to help me focus rather than this Adderall stuff. So I came across the meditation, the research on meditation. It was like black and white to me. If I do this, then I will have no negative side effects, and there's only really positive side effects of meditation, and that should help me focus. So I started meditating. First 2 or 3 days, nothing really happened. Third or fourth, because I was trying to control my mind, trying to control my thoughts. It was also when I was starting to really learn about how my thoughts create reality. It's like, don't think negative thoughts, and I would get in my own head about it. But what eventually happened is I completely let go and of trying to control, and I just observed my thoughts. Observe the thoughts that come into my head, observe the thoughts that leave my head. And what happened is I started to feel completely different. I also started to become aware of the labels that I had that were keeping me stuck. I realized I thought that I had ADHD, and I thought and believed that I had to take Adderall in order to fix that. I believed and I thought that I always had a woman in my life that had to control me. I thought I wasn't worthy. I was a people pleaser. I thought I had to work that job I wasn't passionate about. I realized that all these beliefs were there, and these beliefs were creating my reality. I just became aware of all of them, and I started to question them. And also something interesting happened as well. My identity literally started to change. I went from being this like too much energy, kind of all over the place guy, and that had to party a lot, to being this meditation guy. This is where a lot of times people have a spiritual ego come in. And the spiritual ego is still an ego. But it helped me to let go of the old ego, and then I had to let go of the spiritual ego later on in life. Because then it's like, oh, people don't understand me anymore. People don't get me. They're just not awake. They're blue pill. They're not red pill like I am. When Morpheus was in front of me and he's like, yo, Aaron, which pill you want to take? Everything that you see around you is nothing but external stimulation through the vibration sensories of your body. What you taste, touch, smell, hear is just interpretation of vibration through a physical vessel. That's not actually real. What's real is beyond the matrix. You're an eternal spiritual being living a temporary human experience. And then I said, okay, Morpheus, I'm going to take the red pill. And then what happened is I took the red pill, and I'm like realizing all these truths. I'm going through meditation, and I'm like, oh, what is real? All these beliefs that I thought was real, this society, these Disney movies, the prince, the princess, all this BS, looking at the news, none of this is actually real. This is all fabricated to keep people in the matrix. And then what happened is then I would look at other people, and they're like, oh my God, they took the blue pill. They took the blue pill. And then I felt alone because like people didn't understand that I took the red pill. So I was like, they don't get it. They just don't understand that I took the red pill. They took the blue pill. They're just going to the job and doing those things. And that's when you start to develop a spiritual ego. And that's when I developed a spiritual ego. I'd be like, wait, this is what I'm using because I feel like I can't connect to a lot of these other people in my life. I feel like they don't understand me. So instead, I'm like, they just don't get it. They took the blue pill. So the key to this, though, is all awareness and then being aware of these different levels, because out the door goes one ego, and in the back door comes the spiritual ego that says, hey, I'm vegan. I do all of this cool stuff. I don't need honey. What about the bees? Like stuff like that. And then it's like, it's a whole nother ego in of itself. So it's becoming aware of these things. Now, what are the 7 things I gave up to raise my vibration? What are the 7 things? First one is, I'm going to say adderall / labels. Because I used to have the perspective that I had to take Adderall in order to get through my ADHD stuff. So the reason I say this, because there may be a lot of other people. Like, I'm not telling people to get off their medication or not believe any doctors ever. But what I am saying is question some of the things you believe to be true about yourself. Question why you are the way you are. And maybe see that maybe there's a new potential, new opportunity. I used to have to take Adderall in order for me to focus. I don't take Adderall no more. I let go of labels. I let go of so many labels about myself. And by letting go of that Adderall, it was a symbol to me that I am who I choose to be in the present moment. And then as I meditated, meditation really changed my life a lot. So I let go of Adderall and I started meditating. And that really raised my vibration. So the Adderall was also a symbol of me letting go of a label that no longer served me. Instead of having ADHD, I started to see myself as just someone that has a lot of energy. So what I would do is I would then go walk barefoot on grass to ground myself because I had so much energy. And even now, I have so much energy. I don't drink caffeine, not because I'm better than you, because I just have a lot of energy. And caffeine to me, I just don't believe I need it. Also, guess this, I just believe I have a lot of energy. That's it. I believe I do. I also believe I never get sick. Therefore, I don't get sick. I just believe that these things about myself. And what is a belief? Let's go to Abraham Hicks. What is a belief, Abraham Hicks? To go, a belief is a thought you keep thinking. So I thought the thought once, yeah, I don't have ADHD anymore. I just have a lot of energy. I reframed it. And then eventually that became my reality. And I've said, maybe there's other ways I could get through this. And one of them is I ground myself in grass. So I'm looking at my backyard right now and there's grass. So I'd go ground myself, which I'll probably do after this podcast episode. So that's the first thing. I let go of Adderall / labels. What other labels could you let go of? Labels of saying you're unworthy. Labels of saying you're a people pleaser. Labels of saying that that you need certain people in your life to be happy. Let go. Let go is like one of the most powerful things that you can learn in order to raise your vibration almost instantly. And remember, your vibration is naturally high. The only reason it appears to not be high is because of you may believe or have attachments to lower vibrational emotions, or have attachments and labels that say, oh, I'm only worthy of this. This is who I am. If you let go of that label of saying you're a people pleaser, let go of the label that says you are unworthy, let go of the thing that says that you're fearful, the positions, they're called positionalities, perspectives that keep you in low vibe. If you just let those go by knowing You don't have to hold on to them. You will then raise your vibration to a completely new level. So the second thing that I let go of to raise my vibration is and was two things: alcohol and marijuana. Now, I know some people listening to this are going to be like, he's saying, what are you talking about? I get it. It's annoying to hear someone say this. I understand that. I used to smoke a lot of weed. And anytime I heard somebody say anything about it being bad, I'd be like, they don't get it. They don't understand. And that was just kind of like, anytime I'd even read an article, I was like, nope, I don't want to read it. I don't want to see anything that contradicts my own beliefs about it. But here's what this is my personal belief. Take it for what it is. I believe we're naturally high vibrational beings, and we don't need nothing in order to feel happy. Now, it doesn't mean you can't do it and enjoy it. Doesn't mean, I'm not telling you, I know it's legal here where I live in Vegas. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it or can't do it. I'm just saying, be honest with yourself. I was doing it every single day, and I realized that it was kind of numbing my own emotions. It was kind of numbing myself. And remember, if you look at the scale of consciousness, which may or may not be completely accurate, I understand, people muscle test certain things, but weed in general will calibrate, or marijuana or cannabis will calibrate at about 350. So on the scale of 0 to 1,000, 350 isn't, alcohol resonates lower than that. However, it's not that high. Like, your natural base point is over 400 to 500. It's like, you can easily feel that way by doing the inner work. So what happened is I eventually raised my vibration, and then when I would smoke, it would actually bring my vibration down, whereas back in the day, it would bring my vibration up. So realize that some of these things may actually be crutches. I remember when I quit smoking weed, cannabis is an actual plant that has like a consciousness in a way. And when I quit smoking weed, I literally cried when I made that choice. I'll tell that quick story. I was smoking a lot of weed. I knew that it was almost time for me to quit. I started meditating. But I felt so connected to cannabis that I was like, man, I don't want to let this go. So what I did is I eventually knew I should. I had friends that owned a smoke shop here in Vegas. It's one of the number one smoke shops here in Vegas, and I don't know why I said that. What difference does it make if they're number one or not? But anyways, I used to always tell friends that because I used to enjoy. I used to get like the coolest things from there. I used to always get new glass pieces and stuff that I would smoke out of back in 2012. And then one day I went in and I got like this really cool new piece, and I brought it home. And I knew that I should have already quit. Not should have, but I knew that my spirit was just kind of telling me, hey, it's time to quit. And then what happened is I took one, I was like, whatever, and I went and took another big hit out of it. Took one hit, and in the moment I breathed in that hit, I knew it was my last hit I was going to take. As I breathed it out, I just started bawling. And interesting enough, I started to feel the emotions of how I made everyone feel when I was smoking cannabis all of the time. Now, this is self-judgment. Understand that. There's nothing wrong with this, but I was judging myself because I would go over to my dad's house and see my sisters, and I would be high, and I would feel kind of guilty for that, and I could always knew my dad kind of tell that I was high, but I felt guilty for that. I had an ex-girlfriend with one of the major things between us was she would drink and I would smoke, and she didn't like that I would smoke, but she would drink, and I would be like, not understand why she was like, why could you drink and I can't smoke? So it was a weird thing, and I used to have to hide that I was smoking or eating edibles. So I could then feel how she felt in that moment, like in that moment that I decided to quit. It was almost like I was clearing out all of those things. Very, very mystical experience. And I cried for like 5 or 10 minutes, and then I just knew that I was done after that. So, what I mean done, what I meant is like done for the way that I did it. I don't smoke weed now, but what I'm saying is I don't think anything is bad if you do it occasionally, if you do it with awareness. I was doing it to numb myself, so that's why I'm just being aware of this. So I say that just because I think some people don't understand their vibrations way higher than certain things, and they don't need it. And when you don't need it, you feel way more powerful. Now, the third and fourth thing is people pleasing and being a nice guy, because they're kind of related. So I grew up being kind of a nice guy because my dad was the role model in my life, like the male masculine role model in my life. He's a very nice guy, like the nicest guy I'll ever meet. However, I realized that I started to associate and started to take on some of those traits of being a nice guy. So here I am, got girlfriends and stuff, and I'm like, hey, maybe they'll like me more if I give them stuff. Maybe they'll like me more if I do what they want to do. And also people pleasing. I was realizing that I got validation off of pleasing other people. If I would do things for other people, if friends wanted me to do things, I would do it because they would want me to do it. Like, oh, come hang out. If I didn't really want to hang out, I'd be afraid to say that. I'd be like, okay, I'll come. You know? It's not always a horrible, like, it wasn't like torture for me to go hang out with friends. But what I'm saying is, like, it was a pattern in my life where I would get validation and approval from pleasing other people. I think that's why I always had that woman in my life that was trying to control me, because part of my identity was like, ooh, if I make other people happy by doing nice things for them, by adding value to them, then I will feel and be 100% worthy, whole, and complete. And I feel like I got that. Now, my idea behind people pleasing, I have this like kind of phrase. If you're a people pleaser, then when you're growing up, you may have been a parent pleaser. So me, for example, I had my ex-stepmom between the ages of 7 to 15 years old. What happened is we were doing that of my brother and I had to, like, who did you have to be to receive your parents' love growing up? That's kind of the question that really will shed this into light. And my brother and I, we had to be like perfect. We had to do all these things. We had to really not step out of line. We had to go by the rules. And that kind of primed us, or primed me at least, to becoming that kind of people pleaser. And what I eventually realized, though, is that it's not natural for me to be a people pleaser or a nice guy. Those were things, and if you're a nice guy and you're listening to this, realize for you to really be in your masculinity, one thing you need to do is you need to lead. You need to know what you want. You need to have a vision. You need to have a purpose. You need to have a passion of something you're moving towards. You need to have a frame of reality that carries with you and carries you into the direction you're going, because the feminine energy wants to play on that. The feminine energy wants to feel safe in that confidence. And if you're a female or a feminine person listening to this, you'll know that what you want is you want someone that's confident. That turns you on. Not a nice guys don't turn you on. No matter how much, like, I'll buy you this, I'll be nice to you, I'll do this. That does not turn you on if you're listening to this as a feminine energy. So the key to this, though, as a people pleaser and as a nice guy, is realizing that the nice guy and the people pleasing is a shadow aspect that keeps people from knowing who you really are. You're afraid to be blunt. You're afraid to lead. You're afraid to be the star of your own movie. And when I became aware of this, I started to become very powerful. I started to also be okay with being in an uncomfortable position. Like, if I were to say something, and naturally, I'm a very blunt person. I say things sometimes, and people are like, did Aaron just say that? I mean, many times I've been chilling with Victor, and we're in public or something, and I say something, he's like, did he just say that? And it's because I'm a blunt person, but sometimes in my relationships, I wouldn't be as blunt. But I'm realizing now that it actually feels good for me to be myself. And sometimes you may have certain perspectives in your mind that you hold yourself back from saying, because what will people think if they knew the real you? And the key to this is understanding that you have value for being you, and you can express yourself. And that you can, it feels good. It feels good. It feels good to say no to something that you know you don't really want to do if you start to reframe it all. People are like, hey, you want to come hang out? And you're like, no, I really don't want to. You can say it another way. It's like, no, I'm not going to hang out today. And don't lie as well. Sometimes then people have integrity and be like almost unapologetic in how you are. It means you do this with awareness. You're not narcissistic, but you just what people pleasers and nice guys need to hear is you need to fill up your own cup. You need to lead. You need to be the star of your own movie. You need to know that you don't get value from pleasing others. You must please yourself first and have your cup full. Yes, like I preach a lot, add value to other people. But there's a way of, I add value to other people with my YouTube videos and my podcast episodes. But I do it from a place of, I don't hope you'll like me because of this episode that I make. And because I don't care one way or the other, like I love you, but because I have that mentality, my energy is much more contagious. My energy is much more of something you want to listen to, rather than I'm like, okay, guys, I'm really anxious. I'm going to say the wrong thing. I don't want to say the wrong thing because then you're going to hold your love back from me, and I just want you to like me. So please like me. See, it's a different energy. So because I'm able to be unapologetic, I'm able to say, you know what? I'm adding value by just being me. And because of that frame, you probably then feel it, and maybe this episode's kind of contagious to listen to. So those 3 and 4, being a nice guy and people pleasing, are ones that you're going to want to let go of. Let go of those labels, mentalities, and you'll start getting power by being the star of your own movie. And if you're a masculine energy, if your core is leading with the masculine energy, then you really want to focus on having your own frame of reality and allowing the feminine to become a part of that frame. And I realized that as I've changed this, I've created much more polarity within myself, much more masculine polarity within myself. And I find it to actually be very healthy. And it feels very natural, and it feels very good for me. And it also, on the other side of it, as far as attracting people goes, it's much more contagious energy to have that polarity and to be comfortable with it and to be the star of your own movie. So these are all different things that you can begin to realize more and more about yourself, if it resonates. But letting go of those mentalities, being a people pleaser, being a nice guy, of taking Adderall and labeling of ADHD, of smoking weed and thinking I had to do it, really raised my vibration. Now, the fifth one is the story that you tell yourself about being stuck. I let go of this and my vibration instantly began to raise. Many times I realized the only problem that I have is that I believe I have a problem. The only time I feel stuck is because I believe that I'm stuck. The more I become aware of the story that I have, the more I let go, the more I raise my vibration. So if I'm like, oh, I feel stuck. I'm working this 9-to-5 job that I hate. I'm in this mentality. If I become aware of that story, I can then let that story go and then decide, well, how do I prefer to be? And the resistance about the story is why the resistance is there to begin with. When I had that 9-to-5 job, I had to be okay with having that 9-to-5 job while I was making YouTube videos and not resist it for me to enjoy it more. And then I was in a higher vibrational state when I was making videos. So it's a very different mentality, but the mentality is let go of the feeling of being stuck. Let go of the story you tell. It's really just the story you tell yourself about being stuck. If you let go of the story, you then become more free. Let go of the story about being stuck. Let go of the story you have about being unworthy. Let go of any stories you have. Letting go of stories will immediately raise your vibration, because then you also realize, hey, they're just stories. I let go of the story that I'm a people pleaser. I let go of the story that I'm a nice guy. I'm no longer a nice guy. I'm no longer a people pleaser. I fill up my own cup. That's the story that I've changed. The more that I now am embodying this new story is the more it's my natural identity. And I'm able to look back to the past of my old self and be like, wow, I really was unconscious of those stories, of the validation I was seeking from other people. And now I'm able to just be myself unapologetically, and it feels so good. So that's the next one. Number 6, hard work. Now, instead of, I used to believe, okay, so as I started to kind of become successful making YouTube videos, in February 2017, I started making daily videos on YouTube. And within 6 months, I quit that 9-to-5 job selling women's shoes. I started to get results for having for creating really hard work. I went from being a very lazy person that was trying to manifest from my couch to then taking a lot of action and getting great results. I went from, to like 100,000 subs by August of 2017. Now the channel, not to spirit the ego too much, but now the channel's almost at 1 million subscribers. And that's come from a lot of videos, making a lot of videos. There was a big game-changing realization I had, though, when I was actually, after taking plant medicine, like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I realized that I had this edge about hard work. It was a part of my identity. And even though it was getting me results, there was a cap to it. I wasn't enjoying life as much. So it was creating a rigidity inside myself. It was creating a sense of almost a limitation within myself. And I was always trying to escape the moment to get to the future. I was like, oh, I need more of this, more of that. You'll realize that too as you start to become successful and start to acquire money or followers or all these things. They're very fleeting, because the real happiness is only within, and it's only right now in this present moment. But the mind will always go for more. So when I first hit 100,000 followers on YouTube, I was like, oh, this is cool, but what about 200,000? What about 300,000? And it just kept growing. The mind will always throw the carrot out a little bit further. And I realized this. And what I realized is that I was holding on to this idea of hard work, of control, of this way of being. And I realized that was causing me to have this edginess and not really enjoying the present moment. Then I had an epiphany, and I realized that I could let go and I could allow things to happen. I could also let go of caring what people thought, because I realized I was making a lot of content that people wanted me to make rather than making content I wanted to make. I was worried about people would think. So what I did is I let go of the beliefs and the thought that I'd be this way that people saw me, the law of attraction guy on YouTube. Instead, I started making very esoteric videos that I wanted to make. Starseed videos on very esoteric things that was like, what about my credibility? What will people think of me? I let go of all of that and even the belief of the hard work, and literally floods and floods of abundance and success came from me doing way less. And even now, I realize sometimes the less I believe I have to work hard, the more abundant I am. It's like magic. But there's different levels to it. What do you need to hear right now? Because I look back to my old self, and if I would have heard that, it wouldn't have made sense because I wouldn't have had the momentum already built from me being the star of my own movie of making daily videos on YouTube. So it kind of depends on where you are to what you need to hear in the moment. But eventually you'll realize this edginess isn't necessary, and that this hard work mentality isn't also something that really serves. Now, one other thing that I want to share with you right now is so many people are reaching out to me that want to do what I do full time. You know, I create videos online. I have a business. My buddy Victor Otto and I have a free training that will show you how we went full time doing what we love. We're not showing you how to become multimillionaires or create hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we're showing you how to go full time doing what you love. It doesn't take as many followers as you think. It does not require as much effort as you think. It requires a dedication, a value-driven, a heart. We're literally trying to attract people that are heart-based, want to go full-time doing what they love, whether you have a Reiki business, a healing business, coaching business, a podcast, content creation, show you how we grew on YouTube, the principles that we put in place, the energy that we use, and the strategy behind it. So if you want to learn that, you go to fulltimepurpose.com. Fulltimepurpose.com. And you can check out that free training. We'll show you exactly step-by-step what we did. The game changer for me was I met some people that literally had like 800 to 1,200 followers, and they were like full-time making $5K a month or more. And I realized that it doesn't take as much as you think. You don't need hundreds of thousands of followers to do this. So if you want to learn how to do that, you go to fulltimepurpose.com. We'll show you how, step-by-step, what we did, and how you could do that and way quicker than you actually think. But anyways, that's another thing that really allowed me to raise my vibrations, going for my passion, doing what I love. But the seventh thing that I gave up to raise my vibration almost instantly was seriousness. Seriousness, being serious. The edginess of hard work caused me to kind of be more serious and always be thinking about my time and this and that. And it gave me an edginess. But when I let go of seriousness and I started to have more fun and I started to enjoy the process, it changed everything. So if you feel like right now in your life there's things coming up, challenges coming up, and you feel like they're very serious and they're big problems, realize that in a couple days they might not be a problem. The thing I was worried about yesterday, I look at today, and it's pretty much all resolved. But yesterday it was very serious to me. I was worried about this and worried about that. You can let go by realizing that there's like this ebb and flow of life and that you can enjoy life more. You can have more fun. You can joke around. You can dance. You're not going to want to dance when you're in a certain stressful mood, but if you force yourself to do it, you'll find that your state changes. And if you change your state, many times you change how you feel. I got a rebounder right over there. It's a little trampoline thing. I jump on that thing, changes my state. It allows me to have more fun. I used to do this thing when I wake up in the morning. I used to wake up in the morning, and the first 2 minutes of my day, I would laugh in bed. Belly laughs. As I was belly laughing, I'd feel really good. And it'd be something that then would kind of set the tone for my whole entire day.